Yeah, you can't live. You don't really wow.
And
Oh, really?
they are genuinely pleased with him. That's what
Yeah.
he's on the list. Tell me
Yeah,
that he's
good.
really smart kid.
There's nothing that
does
Well,
works
I need
hard.
to get back and
That's
find out.
what you have to do. The attorney in the state of Kansas.
I have been.
It has to do with the state sales tax. And us being being able to dedicate it to emergency management, medical, that type of thing. So I think we can, if you want to read it, just double check that. This is KSA 8-187. But I think we'll talk about it in the meeting here in a little bit. I think we can allow that to happen if the county wants it to go forward.
A percentage of the state sales tax to go towards that? Is that what it is?
It would be a 0.25% sales tax countywide, and all of it would go to, you would dedicate it to the whole hospital.
Oh, I see. I thought you were referring to.
Morning, how are you?
Good morning. I thought you were referring to.
Morning.
You said emergency management. Did you not say emergency management?
I did. The statute reads for medical or emergency management.
Okay.
I.e. Ambulance or stuff like that.
I got you. Okay.
But we would dedicate it.
Speaker first. Yeah, I gotta run up the speaker.
Where's the court?
Third floor, go to the middle and go up.
one that's small.
Is it better basketball?
No, not well, in high school there is, in my middle school, this is much older for them, for seventh grade. And nothing.
Logging down.
45-50.
Yeah. What grade is what?
Logging down.
Yeah.
Yep. So they just had
It
their
was foggy
first
here early.
basketball game on Friday.
Are they here? Playing here?
This Friday will be at Jackson.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So we have double duty today?
No, I'm just here for questions.
Oh,
I'm playing catch up.
are you letting us?
I was out most of last night, so.
Well, Pat's here. Anybody else coming in from the family?
Pat's on his way back home. He did not technically do it.
Oh, you told him to go back home.
Did you kick him out already?
I don't have a return to work done.
Oh. Well, he was gonna show us his scar, but we didn't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't think he was. Yeah.
Package USPS again this week. I'm gonna go give him my zip code so I can get that free Christmas package.
There you go.
I won the lottery the other day. No, it was these clearinghouse sweepstakes.
You look.
I know. But they thought my last name was Jackson. Or they had it, and I said, yeah. You're right on target there.
At 9 o'clock, school will open with pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm gonna pass these down. This is wastewater that we state from Division of Environmental. We get this every year. Just got posted if you want to read it. This is a copy from Kevin Hill noting that he did
Okay.
receive and sent back to Jeff Morrow a letter resigning for not renewing his contract.
Well, this is we just have a lot here in Jackson County, correct? So you saw from the wastewater. Yeah. Right at the front, top.
These are discharge and resignation of Scott Kieffaber was discharged and Linda Jackson resigned.
Okay.
So if you want to sign those. How did we receive this?
It came from my email.
Oh, yeah. If you can shred that, because that position isn't open. So it was a job application from Richard Smith. He's applying for Lynn's position, which to my knowledge, we haven't,
Posted or done anything yet?
posted that, so I appreciate that. He was terminated, and I don't believe we'll need that resignation, or need that application, so.
That was put it on file, right?
And is that what you're referring to, just to put it in the file that we applied?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, I think that's,
There's not a position to apply for.
There's not a position to apply for, so you can file it to chapter 13 as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, I think it's in.
Hi, Scott.
Morning. Where's Scott?
Do we have paper agenda?
Another anything on.
Yeah, just Todd and
Okay.
Scott's gonna come in for a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't print them. There was nothing on.
So,
And then the only thing that may add into the agenda this morning, gentlemen, will be once you read over Kurt's increases for the lake, different stuff, if you want to have a conversation with, he said he would be available anytime this morning if you wanted to come in and talk about it. So
Okay.
he's very flexible on what time he can come in. There's the increases.
yeah, he was telling me, I went out and saw the building.
Yeah, but okay, no problem with them.
I see that.
I think Mark already got a copy of it.
I got the copy of
He got
it.
the email. We can discuss it here after this.
Yep.
You want to pass that down to Sheriff, please? Hand those back to that's an interest too.
Okay.
Hand those back to me. Thank you.
You're not getting my cheat.
Huh?
You're not getting my cheat.
Okay.
Just getting it back.
Go ahead, Scott.
Basically this week we got, still working on those fuel permits, we got the information back from the state, we just get the actual permits. On that, we mentioned to you Leon Creel's retiring December 31st.
Yep.
We got ad in the paper for somebody's birthday in January, so we're looking for those.
Okay.
Got signed back up out here at the road bridge yard too for California.
Okay.
Got the mulch head on the excavator, but there's a hose we gotta replace. It's a 32-foot hose, so we're gonna get that replaced. Get it done sometime this week. The bridge out of 254, it started out there with the contractor with pilings, things like that. On the north side, we've got a problem with some fiber line running through there, so they're gonna come out and move it, before we can put the wing walls and things out there on that.
Giant or, who
Free
is it?
State, I think.
Free State? Okay.
Okay, tubes for this week they're gonna work on is, one at Y, 303. They've got one at, between 162 and 166. Ditching, they're still out of 198, they said probably the rest of the week working on that. There's a mud hole on 334 between Y and Z that we're gonna look at and take care of. Belly dumps are out on T, 246, 254. And we do on S, 246, 254. And the 10-wheelers are over on 182, Q to R. We'll try to finish the lake, work about the lake tomorrow. Kurt, we did get the dirt hauled off out there that he's going out there. fuel barrel set last week, new ones set up, so we'll be doing those today or tomorrow. No services, and well, we've got a couple roads that they call endings.
Do anything again on, that minimum maintenance that you, went down and looked at, going into that guy's cornfield that had the big
Yes.
mud holes?
Yes.
Anything on
We
it?
put guard in it, where you can get in there now, so.
Perfect.
You still got water that deep, so you seal it, good. That's what we're gonna do. You can get in there.
As long as our part's done, that's all we want to take care of.
As long as the gravel in there, it's going right, it's all right, it's not
We can elevate it high enough that it'll shed water.
right.
That's our responsibility. And it's not even his ground, it's rented ground. He lives in Shawnee County. I'd like a 10-minute executive session with Scott. No, I don't think so. I don't think it needs to be executive session. So let's have an open discussion about the direction we're gonna go, whether to not fill, Linda's position. So I'd like to have that discussion here.
To me, we're kind of at the point where we could try this, we don't have a person in that position now. So to me, we could try this for a few months just to see how things kind of progress. And if it does work great, if not, then
So walk through for these guys what your thoughts are.
well, we've got, our list here that we've had for a few years of, this work that we think we can do in years coming. And that's kind of, let me make a copy.
That's okay.
But I kind of went back to our board too, and here's our list of.
Board meaning their whiteboard out there,
Whiteboard.
but they have
Like I said, this was kind of major, way we work, projects. If we're going to make, projects here, like our tubes, here's the tubes we have listed, here's the ditching we have listed, and here's the trees that we have listed. If we broke these up into projects just like these here, and we've got, lead person over, he's got 3 people in it. We got lead person over trees and lead person over tubes. Matt comes and directs them, hey, here's your list of things you need to do. They go through, prioritize, and go out and do it. And then if you have an emergency comes up, like, the closing, we're gonna pull one of these groups off, they'll take care of those problems. Also, with this here, the ditching crew and tree crew will be working right along with these folks as they're going down and doing these projects.
And so that means that we're not having to pull a blade off of a route in order to do this ditch work. They're just doing it.
Well, that should be the way it is anyway. That's kind
Right,
of
but
been
it's not been the way it's been.
okay. Because if you're out there, yeah, I don't quite understand why if we're trying to get back into the ditching and get them, clean them in their areas, why they haven't been, working on it, or why we're not directing them to work on it if it's in their area. See what I'm saying?
Because it requires more personnel to go do it. So if you have, just in the past, what we've seen is if you have a couple miles of ditching work that needs to be done, so now that blade operator has to spend that time ditching, pulling that dirt out, helping load it, get it out of there. So that means he's not on his route for 2 weeks. In what I think Scott's proposing, and what I think we'd all like to get to is where you have a crew that goes and does that, while the blade operator is continuing to maintain their road.
Okay.
We
Well,
have-
I can understand
We've
that.
got operators, we've got, Bob Miller and Landon Bagley that can both run graders. So I would have one of them set up with this ditching crew, and we've got the extra blade, so that person would be ditching and not interfering with your blade operator, unless needed.
So are you guys open, and well, before I ask that question, did you visit with Matt about this?
Have not.
Okay.
I want to
So
see kind of where you guys are at
I
first.
think for me, individually, I'd like for you to have a conversation with Matt about this, to make sure, and then I want the conversation to be had with the individual, that we've moved up, have that conversation, that we've elevated to, being a lead individual, and I'm not sure he understands his expectations right now.
That's something I mentioned too, is first thing I want to do is go right down what my expectations of these folks would be, and to lead and to keep people busy, you know, and we think that it's coming out of their pocket, which it is.
I had a conversation with Scott last week asking if he can take on more responsibilities if he was willing to do so. Of course, I thought we already have one foreman, correct? What we identify as foreman?
Matt.
Okay. First and third districts are more rural than second district, so if you go to the level of maybe another foreman over in charge, I'm saying that first and third district would have their dedicated foreman, and they share the second district, which is not very big as far as rural. But if you can take on the extra responsibilities and you have Matt as a foreman, then you have lead, I think that's a good idea. So, and have you thought more about if you can take on more of the responsibilities?
I talked to Keith about that.
Okay, all right.
Confidence too, so.
Sure.
I think we can work it out, probably possibly down a little more on our end down here.
Okay.
So, that's what I'd like to try it.
Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm short term here. You like the idea, you guys like the idea, I'll support it for mine.
I'm still thinking on that. I don't know that it's a good idea to dump more of that on you, because since you're overseeing everything, and you have a manager down here, you have a manager for the projects, but we need, my personal opinion is, I think we need to put somebody back in that position who is out on the road and working with everybody, working with our blade operators, our truck drivers at all times, rather than maybe part-time here, part-time there. I think that's going to be too much for you to take on with all your other responsibilities, and I really think that we need to look at putting somebody back in that position. That's my opinion. But let me think on that. Talk to Matt. Outline the expectations for each one of these groups. And let's take a look at that after we get that done and see what that goes. Okay. I mean, that's my opinion.
No, I appreciate that.
Like I said, you know, and my thought was we're at that point now, you know, where if you're going to try it, it's going to be time to try it, you know, if it works great or not.
I mean, you know, it's not gonna cost us anything.
Right.
To leave that position open for a period of time to try this and see if it's gonna work, see if there's even people who, part of my reservation is, I'm not sure if there's guys out there, guys and gals out there that wanna step up. And when I say step up, you know my definition of step up. That means if I'm friends with John and Pete, but I'm today on their lead, I may have to give them direction that they may not agree with, and then how do they handle that? They're gonna have to be able to separate their friendships. If they're not, then, yeah, I'm with Mark. We hire somebody from the outside, we bring them in, and we go that route. But I think, based on the information we've gotten over the last couple of weeks, that management needs to push a little bit harder, because I'm just disappointed in a lot of people.
We need to look into any more of that? Those folks?
I don't believe so, not at this time. Based on HR partners and my conversation with them last week that I shared with the other two commissioners, there's not anything that we would do with anybody else at this point in time.
I do have two individuals, bond is, 90 days is up, so, obviously, it's all right, go ahead and move them up a little bit.
Okay.
Get that paperwork for next week. And then, one also, times there also.
Okay.
I thought that when, trying to be careful how I word this, I thought that we had talked about possible,
And we need to have that discussion, letters, yeah.
yeah. I thought that we had talked about that.
We can have that conversation if you wanna.
I think we really need to.
Like 10 minutes now?
Yeah, I think so.
Entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move to go into executive session for the purposes of personnel matters and non-elected personnel for a period of 10 minutes starting at 9:19, going 10 minutes to reopen this location with Attorney Scott and Commissioner present.
And Christie also.
And Christie also.
See, so I was really impressed with the GPS portion of it, because on blades, it can tell when the blade's down, it can tell the speed, it tells you everything because it's hooked into the system. And so, the same with the dump trucks. You know if they're braking too hard, if they're driving too fast. Some of that information, it also will give feedback to Bryson when there's warning lights on, and if the truck driver's not paying attention to that, Bryson can go out and say, hey, you have a idiot light on, or something wrong with your truck, and he can stop and pull maintenance, or do whatever then. So, I'm inclined to try to get this lined up before the first of the year, because there's some real incentives of purchasing these before the end of the year.
And he was gonna go back and, because my biggest concern still is the two systems stopping back and forth. He was indicating that they're really close. So he's gonna go back and get with his engineers and the engineers from Star.
Correct.
How much money are we talking? Because I did not amend the budget, because I think we're gonna be good.
Right.
It was like,
This-
what, 80?
Well, if you do phase, we talk about doing phases, it's first phase, it's just getting GPS on the units, you're probably around 9,500 or 8,500.
So not big money.
I know, and that's why I told him, I agreed, Mark, I told him, I said, if we could do phase one, and if there's some real incentives to purchase this equipment before the end of the year, then we would do just the GPS and get those installed. Phase two and phase three would be, in February. If we decide cameras, and by then we'll have a new commissioner, and so Linda will have some input on that, so the whole camera thing, I'm still not, I don't see the, I guess I don't see the benefit of the cameras at this point.
I do on trucks, not
I know you
necessarily.
do. I know you do.
Just forward facing,
Yeah,
for accidents.
Yeah.
love to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Linda will be on board then, we can dive into it, and then also by then, will be able to explain, or if you want to explain again, the whole STAR program, being able to tie those together. So basically, the truck drivers, and blade operators, or is it just truck drivers, will have the iPads. Everybody will have them, they'll input their information into that, and it'll automatically be uploaded at the office, instead of the office staff having to receive a hard copy and sit down and spend 3 hours putting it in. It just is about efficiency. And if we can make that position a lot more efficient, it's a whole lot cheaper to do that than it is to hire a whole other employee just to input data.
So he was gonna come back to us, he's gonna get back to us in 2 weeks, I said, I'd like to have this information in 2 weeks.
I agree.
He did email me and said around the 16th, he would have information for us to jump back to you guys.
Perfect.
This is the guy you originally been discussing this with?
Yes.
And I'd like to, just as an aside, when he was showing me the program, or showing Scott and I the program down there that night, where we had a truck that showed it had a hard crash.
Yes.
Well, the hard crash was actually in the quarry when they dumped the rock in the back of the truck. They picked it up as a hard crash.
Yeah.
So what he did is went in and set up a geofence around the quarry.
Yep.
So that if a truck is in that area, it will not pick up anything as a hard crash or anything like that, because it's just sitting there idle, not doing anything. So I really like that.
And one of the things I didn't ask him and asked later, I thought about it, was so it will tell when a truck or blade is pulled over. And because sometimes blade operators take lunch breaks or their breaks at different times, can't they also immediately, when they stop to take a break, they can just make a notation on there, stop for a break? So that if you go back and look,
I don't see why they couldn't.
because, yeah, there's a place for notes, I think. And so, to me, that's a benefit. If I'm an operator, I like that, because if I'm taking a break at 11:30 and somebody drives past me and says, oh, he's sitting on the side of the road, on his phone at 11:30, lunchtime's not for a half hour. You can go back to the record and you can show this is why he stopped. So, to me, that's a selling point to the operators. But at the end of the day, they need to understand it's the county's equipment, and if we choose to do it, that's what we do. Anything else?
Can't believe it, didn't
Have a good
Take
day.
care.
See you later.
Todd, what you got for us?
Well, you want to do a few loose ends on solar?
Love to. Let's dive in.
Okay, just for the record,
I didn't get it.
We have a record now, man.
I'm used to saying that, because I'm in the county, I always have to say that.
I understand.
I just got an email from the contact with, the industries involved with solar. He's got, I guess, comments on the regulations I sent him probably a month or so ago, or maybe longer.
Okay.
So I just got, I hadn't had a chance to even look at those, and you're saying it came in at 9:04, so, depends on what what I suggest is that I can give you kind of a memo about what they're proposing or what they're asking, rather than give any type of real.
And honestly, I think those discussions really need to happen in zoning and planning meetings. And that's just me personally. So at this point in time, I don't know that I really want any input other than, okay, here's a draft, now it's going to go to zoning and planning. If any company that's applying has thoughts or comments on that,
They need to go to there.
they need to go to that meeting.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's probably just my deal is that maybe there's something in there where they said, well, according to federal law, we can't do this.
Okay.
And I would say, okay, well, I'll look it up and you're right.
That's different.
Yeah. So you're saying just like substantive, do we, can we do this or rather than that? And then that would be zoning and planning. Okay.
Right, if they're, any of those types of things, that's going to be an open forum where the public can be there, they can be there, they can raise their concerns about the draft and debate that there and ask for it to be changed there.
Yeah. So just keeping up to speed on that part of it.
And when it comes down to that, I think that the personal opinion, the first meeting after we send everything to zoning and planning, I believe that should be a zoning and planning meeting to go over the regulations and get themselves familiarized with them as a group, and no public comment at that one. Public's welcome to sit there and listen to the discussion, but in order for the panel to get themselves familiarized with it and talk amongst themselves on it, and then the second meeting, the third meeting, or however many more we need, that's when they can take public comment, because they're not going to be able to go in there cold and go over this whole document and take public comment on it without knowing what's going on.
I would hope that that's what the chair of that board would do, but it really, at the end of the day, it's up to the chair.
Yeah.
So if he decides that they want to have, however he wants to run it.
And it's how, well, it depends on how it's published also.
And if Kate's available, do you know if she's back today?
She's here.
Yeah, if she wants to come down,
Yeah.
that would be great.
I think it'd be
So we
good.
could answer if you have one question still have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have something from that company that talks about federal?
No, I
Okay.
got an email here that from a guy I know, he says, here's my comments, and that's
Yeah.
it. So,
Okay.
it wasn't like, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, I put that in context here about where you guys are going with that.
Okay, thank you.
So, kind of the thing we could talk about here is, there's a section for part one of this, is there's a section called additional public notice. And essentially, this is supposed to dovetail, I think, with the existing statutory setup for how these things are processed before, you know, a special use permit is processed before the zoning board, the planning commission. So, because just like this, if you ask for a special use permit, there's gonna be a hearing for that actual finalized permit
Right.
that the public can come in and comment on, and pro and con and all that stuff. So that's still overarching there. The thing that's probably the question is that I think the form of it had at the very end, and it kind of what they call the neighborhood meeting report, which is additional to, because I think the concept is that they go out and do kind of a PR, the company or
Yeah.
whoever the owners are, you know, whoever's doing it has a separate, completely separate meeting from the planning commission that just says, here's our proposed, here's what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna build, that kind of thing. Which, you know, technically, you kind of think of these larger projects they wanna do, and you wouldn't need to make them do it. But that is kind of the question here, is whether you say something to the effect of, you know, that they're supposed to give specialized notice and stuff like that beyond the notice that you would get from the planning commission perspective to, on a zoning change or a special use permit. But that's kind of what, and I just have on here, I have a question mark for whether you guys want that to make that a condition of the permit, or if you just,
A suggestion.
well, or just, they're gonna probably do it anyway.
It was referred to previously by energy companies that do this would be called a town hall meeting in various locations in the county, is what was set up originally. Talking.
And the town hall meeting is probably a good format, except that I probably wouldn't have put this as give it that idea of being an official county or city. You know, that's the kind of thing where you have structure that's the authorities are there. It would basically be whoever's the owner company, and they're just sitting there taking questions.
So your question to us is, do we make it mandatory or do we make it suggested?
I think that, if I remember correctly from some of the other regulations that we looked at and actually talking to the Iowa folks in person, I believe that, I remember them saying, you know, that I think they made it mandatory that the energy company did this, had the town hall meetings, because they said it got us out of the way of it, but by putting it in there, it forced the company to go out and do it, not us having to have meetings to explain everything.
And that's the benefit of this, is that you could probably answer a lot of questions that would, you know, the planning commission meeting is the only meeting where that's going to be discussed. Then you're going to have everybody who has any question about it come to that meeting. And if you have this town hall meeting, maybe they can handle questions that people don't understand. You know, they really have a good question about where things are located. They answer that, and they say, okay, well, that's good. Then you might reduce down the amount of people who are.
And then the fact is, you know, I I'm not an expert on it, you're not an expert on it, the planning commission isn't an expert on it, but the people who know about the project, whatever they want to do, if they can fit it into our regulations, or the whatever entity, applies for it. So I think it needs to be left in there,
Okay.
personally.
So just go ahead and flesh that out a little bit and just say, is a requirement of this year to give evidence that that open to town hall meetings on X number of occasions prior to setting a hearing for the special use.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
That helps.
And that's, reason we asked you down, Kate, is because, I would like it to be, after we pass this over to the planning commission, that the first meeting that they have to go over these regulations, and if they need more than one, that's fine, because it's gonna be, a lot to digest, that those meetings are not set up for public comment, but they're set up for the planning commission to actually go over and read through and converse amongst themselves first, how they think things need to be lined out, if they think something needs to be changed in setbacks, so on and so forth. It's easier for them, rather than having the public come in and jump down their throat when they have no idea what they're actually looking at yet, because they haven't had a chance to digest it. So, Keith made a good point that was the chair's responsibility to do that, but it's also how we publish it in the paper.
We won't be publishing it.
Paper.
But normally you work with the chair to determine those things, correct? I mean, I think we have to be real careful about what's a suggestion and what's a demand. I don't think
I'm
we
not
can.
demanding either, I'm just suggesting
I
that
think
those
you have a
first few
conversation,
meetings.
yeah, have a conversation with your chair about how he wants to approach the zoning and planning meetings when they first get the draft. If they wanna take it and try to bite it all
If
off.
he wants to answer questions on it
that's
right
up
off
to
the
them.
bat, that's
Maybe
his
they're all
choice, but I think for the benefit of the planning committee, it would be in their best interest to be able to go over the regulations with the public sitting out there, they listen to conversation, it's just they will not be able to comment on it yet until the planning commission has had a chance to look it over and go through it. I think that'd be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, your chair may decide that it's gonna take them 2 or 4 meetings to go through it and really have open conversation amongst themselves prior to ever going, okay, now we have a pretty good grasp of what's in here. Now we'll start entertaining some
Feedback.
some feedback.
Yep.
But again,
But like I said, I just want to make
That's
sure
really
that
up
it's
to
published in the paper, does not
Jonathan,
throw them to the wolves, so. Thoughts?
No?
That's good.
Okay.
And we've had, that came up in the sense that we've had some industry additions and questions or comments made to this draft, and that was sent to me 45 minutes ago. But the idea being, I think we're gonna turn a lot of that over to the planning commission. I'll make a legal review just to see if there's big issues that need to be fixed before we go to that level. But
and keep in mind, Kate, that you're probably gonna want Todd there to help answer questions of the board and walk them through why things are listed in the way they are. And so we'll have to work through his schedule to make sure that he can be available for those meetings. But I would think they would want counsel there. Wouldn't you?
yeah, well, I mean, to start with,
For sure.
if it's just, maybe some familiarity with what we're trying to do here. That's that. The other thing would be, where to put this in your code. I think you sent me some suggestions. I picked 27 just because that was one section. It seemed to me that it would be easy to move that one section to another part of the code and just take over Article 27. If you had lost those pages, it was 30.
Article 30. I'm doing addendums.
So that was wind energy.
It's modifying that.
Okay.
Which I think would make sense for, I mean, all because that's essentially renewable energy and just making that article
30.
for renewable energy.
And then have this WC wind energy be another section on the end of this or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
way it keeps everything else intact.
my whole thing was, what was the shortest part of this I could find? So that works, I'll redraft that to be section 30. You'll have a full section, new section 30. If that's okay.
Section 30 or article.
Article.
Sorry.
Yeah.
article.
Yeah, I remember. Primary deals with wind power at this point in time. If I remember correctly, I don't have what I was saying.
It's just on the
Yeah.
Okay. And last loose end I have was for today. I promise. This is section 5. This is dealing with inspections. So this is where we're getting into where the county has its own inspector to do, to look over, preliminary process, construction process, and after that. It's just there's an assessment for administrative costs. I think I referred that basically to, this is not gonna set that up. But what it has in there is they had a deposit of money. So just that's a blank right now. It says upon submission of an application for a project, the operator or owner shall deposit the amount of blank as an assessment for cost of administration by the county inspection for the project, enforcement of the code.
Can it be left blank and say amount will be determined at time of project?
Yeah, and that's probably the methodology here. This just says deposit, so you just kind of like set the number so it's, not representative of the fact that you're serious because you're giving us the money, we give the money.
Yeah, you can ask for a $10,000 deposit, and as it will hire an engineer, and as we eat through that, we'll say, okay, we're within $500, we need another X number of dollars deposited, and just continue to work our way through that. We've done that in the water district many times when people have asked for big projects and they want us to do the engineering.
Yeah.
We ask for deposit before we do the engineering.
Okay, so then.
You guys agree with that? You're okay with
Sure.
that? That way we don't have to be locked into a number, I mean, 'cause
I don't know what the filing fee is for a special use permit. Generally,
25.
125, don't think it covers. That's kind of the idea. And I'll clarify around that just to say this is, the actual administrative cost will be determined according to the zoning administrator, the cost of hiring, etc.
That's, your point about an engineering firm, does it have to be, because there are a lot of subcontractors popping up all over that work with individual solar systems in the county? Does it have to necessarily identify as an engineering firm or a subcontractor qualified for inspection?
Well, I think kind of depends upon what the aim of this is. My thought would be it's a little specialized construction-wise for you guys to go with hire a guy who, does building inspections or even commercials, right? Because probably be, half dozen maybe tiny structures that are no bigger than.
really the
Yeah,
inspection, the inspection portion of it is going to be overseeing, making sure that we're not putting tubes in for crossings in an incorrect way. We're not.
It's gonna be more during the construction phase of what's going.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not running 40-ton trucks over 8-ton bridges, somebody that can go, okay, time out, we're not gonna do that. Somebody who's out there watching and making sure that's advocating for us because they're paid by us.
Would also be umbrellaed underneath the fact that, say there is a hailstorm, and the county has hired a subcontractor, engineering firm, whatever, to go out and make sure, do periodic checks, to make sure the equipment is up. I'm saying underneath that umbrella, that's what I'm also including.
And you gotta have a guy who's gonna go out there and just say, okay, well, we're measuring between the panels here, and, you know, the trail's not right, and.
Right,
you know,
he's gonna have a copy of these regs, and if that individual is gonna go out there, he's gonna be able to look at the regs and understand them and go, okay, this isn't meeting the standards.
You know,
As far as like what you were talking about, the initial inspection, number one, there'll be a road inspection, of all roads.
Videotape.
Yeah, that they will be using, there'll be an engineering firm hired for that. So that will be the road inspection to, make sure that whatever roads that they have outlined that they are using for haul routes for the interior of the project itself are maintained to county standards or brought up to county standards. Tubes that need to be replaced are replaced. If a tube isn't gonna work it, then it's gonna have to be a concrete tube, something like that, because, you know, and solar is a little bit different than the wind, as far as haul routes, because it's not near as heavy. But there's probably gonna be a lot more traffic, because there's gonna be a lot more people back and forth on the roads.
So basically, to start out the project, they're gonna have to start with that, inspecting the roads and then working from there.
And then inspecting, or how do I want to say this, not really inspecting,
Monitoring.
well, I guess it would be inspecting the project site right off the bat to make sure that what we have for grading, for no tree removal here, you know, things like that.
Whatever's in the regulation.
Yeah, whatever's in the regulations is going to be maintained. But it's going to have to be an initial inspection right off the bat before anything is done or one blade hits the ground.
Is your question answered?
Yeah.
Or do we make more gray area?
Yeah, that, I guess I'm just making sure that this makes sense as far as the money flow, because this is hard to do in advance of the issue, meaning what is the cost of inspection?
I don't think we determined that. I think we'll ask for a deposit, and when we hire somebody, and we'll know a number then, we'll.
Tell them that part of the process is it's an ongoing thing.
This is common practice for all of these things as far as the wind and solar entities having to do this. This is nothing new.
Right, but I think what Todd's saying is, how do we determine that number? Are we going, because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't put a number in there. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's the idea. How do we structure it still so that it's somebody coming in says, I know how to at least do the first step. We don't know what the second step process is, but at least, you know. And these are gonna be big projects, so they're big boys. I don't think there's gonna be any problem with that. It's just, you know, that we're writing the reg, this is the end of the test of time, so we don't wanna lock us into something
No.
that doesn't.
No.
okay.
That sounds really good, so that was my loose end.
Okay, so the entire thing is done, ready?
The entire thing? No, but yeah, I'll have, incorporate this stuff, have a final draft, and probably have notes to it just to say, because you said this, and this, you know, like this. Did I put it together right? And I guess you guys, your own choice about what you wanted to do after that, and to say, because I don't have much left as far as, you know.
But if you're close, I mean, if it's just crossing some T's and dotting some I's, let's get that done and let's get it to Kate and get it to zoning and planning.
Yeah. Well, I think the process, just so, because I got it, is I'll have that initial review of what the suggestions are from the industry guy.
Okay.
changes. I think the only other thing is I'm gonna, I'll try to get together a list of things for the limited systems. I think that was the other thing I had ground to remember.
Say that
What limited systems are required to do
Yeah.
of this list. You know, the little guy who wants 20 acres of, and so that'll all be covered. So,
Now, and we wanted to go over it before we sent it to zoning planning also. As far as going over it, looking, making sure we got all our i's dotted and t's crossed.
you guys, I'll endeavor to kind of have a final.
Can we have that before next week? Before, to review before our meeting? Because if we can go over it this week yet, and then, I thought we were that close.
Yeah, I just, it's just that busy of a week. Trying to figure out when I have office time to see do this. Yeah, I'll do my best. Get it to you probably, I think I need to have it to you probably by Thursday, best. I mean, that's not a lot of time, but.
And then you can determine, Kate, when you would present it to, or you give it to your, once we've looked at it Monday, if we have it, we'll say, okay, this is a draft, this is what we're ready to roll with, open to suggestions. It's all fluid, I mean, but it's at least a starting place. And then you can get it to your 9-member board, go from there.
Publish 20 days in advance as a workshop.
Yeah, I would give it, I mean, if there's anything, you can do it, you know, fast and do the 1 week hearing and get it out, but I think in this instance, you probably want to have, I think the first pass would be give it to them and let them go through it. Don't make that a special notice meeting again.
I don't think there's any hurry for them to have a meeting, whatever, as soon as they have it in their hands, if you want to set the next regular meeting.
Yeah, and I think there's an endpoint where you have it, by God, we're going to send this up to these guys again, at your own pace. And you're got the chairman's judgment, your judgment as to where it's going. That's, you guys need to have the time, we've got plenty, so you guys
Agree.
need the time to feel comfortable with what you're doing. Sound like a plan?
What's
And then look, plan.
You're thinking the normal January meeting.
I'm not thinking anything. I think we get this document to you, you distribute it to your 9-member board, and then let you and your chair can determine when you want to have, if they want to get together at their earliest date, would that be January? That would be the next regular meeting, if you were going to have a meeting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be your next regular meeting. They get together, if you and the chair decide that's when they want to have their first meeting and talk about it. That's up to you guys.
You guys can also call work sessions and do whatever.
You have a lot of latitude.
Yeah, and that, and I'm glad to be, I'll try to be available as best I can, but I don't want to kind of overcook it too, give everybody a chance to, be conversing in there, and you've got some new big people, I think, that are going to be able to get some up too.
And that draft would be available to the public also.
Yeah. That's the idea.
Hopefully in electronic form, but if we have to kill a tree to make it happen, we'll do that too.
This is all about the environment.
Yeah. Questions? Any other thoughts?
Right now, process and
Okay.
get back to
It's all about the process. Slow and steady wins the race.
No hurry. That all you had? Or Dave, did you
I
have?
saw that expression.
I've never heard of that. As a sprinter, I know what breed.
Okay, there you go.
The from across country running.
No, a middle
Slow and
distance.
steady wins the race.
There you go.
Got you there, I see what you
Did you have anything for us?
The, camper that was out on 232nd.
Yes.
It is still there as of Friday.
So, Todd, this individual was told that he should not leave the camper there any longer. And so, we just need to move to the next step of having him notified, removed, however we do that.
Well, I think you're talking about, is there any specific code violation that the zoning code violation is accused of at this point?
He was given an extension until December 1st.
It was a house and property he bought, put a camper on it, was gonna remodel. Then tore the whole house completely down, and then just decided to start living and staying in the camper. And I had a conversation with him 2 weeks ago, maybe, and a week ago, no, it was still 2 weeks ago, at least. And I said, you can move out to Banner Lake, hookups, set up there. And I said, you can't camp on your property. And he's known that for months. And we've been walking down this, we gave him an extension, he said that would be great.
I guess this is a question for me about how that's handled, because I don't know that you guys do extensive nuisance processing in nuisance properties.
What's in the regulation though, when it comes to that, what's the next step?
I think if it's a criminal violation, then it would be.
There isn't anything.
Well, there's the fines that accumulate every day that are in violation.
Well, then probably, I just have to take a look at it, because I think this is a division of labor I'm not used to, because if it was a city, I would prosecute them.
Right.
Because they're violating the zoning code, and usually there's a provision in the zoning code that says violation of the zoning code is a misdemeanor.
But we don't have that.
I don't know if you, I read that.
We do have that section in our code where it's a $500 fine every day if they're in violation.
Well, then that's, to my mind, that gets turned into the county attorney that says, enforce this. And, with the proviso probably that, we're looking to get him off the property, not throw him in jail. So let's, but you gotta do that first complaint. And I just don't know if I'm empowered to do that. Certainly not empowered to do that criminally, I don't think. I think if you had a nuisance code and that he was specifically violating something in the nuisance code, that's a question, but I think probably 9 times out of 10 this goes to
When did this process,
county attorney.
do you have the date when it started? Right, but how long the camper's been there when he moved the camper in?
Yeah, July, that is. July.
All right. Well, we'll have Todd take a look at it and we'll move ahead with it. We've tried to bend over backwards to help the guy out.
Yeah. Can you send me that stuff just right there? I think maybe somebody gave something about. So yeah, I think if it's basically goes to county attorney, we'll turn that over to them.
We had a situation happen out west of town like that, a nuisance code that was continuation letters were sent out. Then finally we had to go to the county attorney. The county attorney sent out a letter that tried to bring them into court. They ignored that. The person was arrested. And then finally that person sold the property, eliminating all this stuff, but it was a nuisance scenario that had lingered on for years. Now we have an ordinance, or a statute, any property that burns or anything like that.
Yeah, insurance
money is held back. But it would be a similar situation to that. You're gonna have to go through, probably through county attorney, and then they send out, and then eventually it goes to the court system.
Well, here's what, the division usually is that I'm used to is that you have a nuisance problem, people have a bunch of junk in their yard, or that house phone. You give them all the notices that the code requires, and then that's divided. You can say, we're gonna go to court, we're gonna go to municipal court, we're gonna be criminally prosecuted for nuisance, which is allowed in the code, and it's all in there, you get the due process that is allowed by courts everywhere. You get a notice, you're supposed to appear, plead, all that. So that's route one. And that ends up with you being fined, and usually that fine is such, or continuing with the person will say, okay, well, I don't want to buck that system, I'll clean it up. That's the way. The other side is that administratively, this body says, well, you're going to comply. If you don't comply, we're going to come out there and we're going to clean it up. We're going to charge you taxes for what we have to pay to clean it up. Now, that doesn't usually involve people getting carted off of the property, or a solid camper that is in good shape, and you're talking about houses that are falling either. So, if they don't comply, they come in here, they ask for a hearing, and they don't comply, you guys do an order, and then you have guys just go out there and take the thing down, and move it.
Well, the caveat too is what are they doing with the wastewater, the waste dump system? Are they compliant? Are they not compliant? What are they doing with their waste? They've been out there for months, living it.
So that division is where, I don't know that you want to have, this doesn't seem to fit to me in the situation where you want to have that they're in here and then say, get out, and then what happens then?
So have you had any kind of contact with the individual since I spoke to him in your office that day? Did he call or anything?
I had a note that said he called and he has a guy coming this week, which was last week,
Fix the camper.
and we'll call with an update. And I had Justin go out on Friday to see if there is.
We'll reach out to him again, have a conversation with him that he's gonna start accruing some pretty hefty fines if he doesn't get going. See if that motivates him.
Well, if you gave him till the 1st of December, he has already accrued a hefty fine right now, right? That $500 went into effect as of the 2nd?
And I'm pretty sure that it's $500, I'm not remembering.
Okay, well, whatever the fine is, he's accruing it daily since the 2nd, then is what I would be under the assumption.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anything more from me?
Thanks.
Okay. Could I get a copy of that draft?
Oh, yeah.
The latest one?
You'll be,
Be the finished more than one.
you get it.
Yeah, whichever version you want.
Okay.
Anything else?
If I did, I forgot about it.
Okay. You
No, I
guys
think that was it.
You guys have anything else for Todd?
I do.
Please make me in.
All right.
You are free to go.
Okay, well, see you next time around.
All right, see you later.
You guys want to open up the discussion on the rate increases that Kurt sent in?
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant on that as far as, here.
This would be on this sheet, the annual vehicle pass used to be $35, he's proposing $45, $10 increase.
Then that's, he's proposing a $10 increase for the annual vehicle pass and a $5 increase, which doubles both of them for the additional stickers.
It didn't double both of them.
No, it doubled both of them.
Went from 35
Or
to
went from 30,
45.
I'm sorry, went from 35 to 45, a $10 charge, and then added a $5 charge on the additional vehicle stickers.
And
I'm curious whether or not that's too big of an increase. I don't know, or if he needs to kind of put that in, over time as far as, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what
Want to
he's.
have an explanation?
I
probably?
think we need to have him in here, so I'd like to get the explanation why he's gonna jump that much. I don't know if he's trying to follow some of the state parks where they're at or how, I'm not quite sure.
Would you mind giving Kurt a call? He said he'd be available.
I just want some more information on that before making a decision.
Do you have any problem with the first sheet which is
The rental
rate,
agreement?
Reservoir Visitor Center rates for 2025, which these are all new, the $350 rental fee, $450 rental fee for peak season, high season.
I have no problem with that, because when you compare it to the Northeast Kansas Heritage Complex, I think it's pretty much in line with that.
I think
So,
that's what he used as guidelines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no problem with that one.
Okay.
Like I say, I just don't know on the, vehicle passes, if we need to kind of, see, Todd, if we need to put those in over, you know, a 2-year period, or where he's getting his information from, what he's comparing it to.
All right, we'll have that conversation in
Yeah.
a little bit. When he runs in. NECAP is needing someone from the private sector to sit on their board. You guys have any suggestions?
No. That's to replace me. It is to replace me.
It's
I'm getting on it, yeah.
This says from the private sector.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's see.
Or from the public sector.
Public sector.
That wouldn't be replacing you.
I think they have to identify as.
Linda will fill that position.
Oh, yeah, there's 3 of them I'm on. Personnel, I'm in charge of personnel, governance. Yeah, good luck, that'll be fun.
So basically we just need to ask some folks in the public
Yeah.
if they're interested in being on this board.
Yeah, Brittany DeBarge is on the board for Jackson County too. Anna Wilhelm previously was, area on aging. That would be another one too, but I don't know what they're gonna do. And then also, just to report this, the governor has to approve this, but the HWI board, which is comprised of labor, Heartland Works, comprised of labor and elected officials. They're merging our district with the big district out front. Instead of 17 counties, there's now going to be 79 counties. That position will be available. I don't know what they're going to do because I told them that,
You serve on that board?
I do.
Is that a required?
No.
Oh, that's something
Yeah.
you volunteer for.
Yeah, but it also elected officials like our county chair out there, she's on it. Bill Wright, Bill from Shawnee County, Richard Mom from Jeff County, but they're going to 79 counties and they're not gonna have 79 different ones, so they absorb it. But the governor has to approve that it looks like it will happen. It's also dealing with a lot of federal stuff. So,
Linda, do you know anybody in the community that would want to serve from the public sector on that NECAP community action board?
Dave?
You're right. Thank you, I
Okay, if you have any suggestions, let's table this, ask that to Tara and have her noted that it's tabled, that until we have a suggestion of who would want to serve on that board.
I'll tell you somebody prior that they really liked, they hated losing was Rob Ladner. Rob Ladner.
Those are resolutions?
Hey, my computer. I'm online.
You're up here.
I am today, yeah.
Sims a couple questions?
What's that?
I'm gonna ask Mr. Sims a couple questions
Oh,
on his
yeah.
email.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing?
All right.
I was curious, I'm trying to read through this transcript, and I'm gonna have to watch a video because the transcript just doesn't quite work.
Yeah, I think it was made by AI.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Not as good as I think it is.
Low resistance and M's law, and yeah, no,
It's
that
Ohm's
doesn't.
law.
Yeah, yes, trust me, I know. Yeah, that doesn't compute. So anyway, what I was curious about, your message here. Okay, so I'm looking at these, on the NEC code, 92D is to do with grounding, and to me, that's just standard practice.
Yes,
From
it
what I
is.
was reading, I mean, that's just kind of, if you're, what is your point on that? I don't quite follow on
There's,
that.
so we have, this is kind of an important, concept. The solar panels create DC voltage, which you can put in battery storage is fine.
No battery storage out there, so we can get rid of that right now. There will be no battery storage, that's in the regulations.
Okay, now that creates this problem. This problem is in order to go from the direct current to alternating current, you have to have an inverter.
Sure.
These inverters create noise.
Yep.
And the noise is detrimental to human.
Which you're looking at, which one of these is your IEEE 519 for the high points, I believe?
These are just the requirements for grounding.
Sure.
And typically this presentation argues that they don't ever install filters to get rid of the noise created by the inverters.
Right.
And so all we're asking, all he's asking, you know, I'm asking it for Jackson County is that we put a specific call out in our regulations to the inspector that's going to be on site and overseeing this installation, that these inverters, filters to reduce the noise so that our kids don't develop disease, that they get installed. They're part of the plan.
Sure.
I mean, it's you know, nobody's looking over my shoulder. I'm not going to do it. It's another 20 grand or whatever.
Yeah.
For each.
No, and I understand that because there's a lot of inverters, there's a lot of freak drives that you get that are the cheaper ones that they don't put the filters on there.
Absolutely.
Most of your reputable companies do have the filters on the freak drives and the inverters. I mean, they do. The cheap ones try to get away with it, and depending on where they're built, whether they're built in China or wherever, they'll say that they're on there and they're not.
Right.
We've sent I don't know how many back to manufacturers because they didn't have them on there.
Who's we?
Goodyear. I worked at Goodyear.
Okay.
Where you worked for a while too.
I did.
Yes.
Did I cross your path there?
I'm sure you probably did. I worked in the Instrument Lab, so yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah. I'm just trying to get a grasp of where we're at here because I do believe that we did require, and here again, I'm going to have to look at the whole thing to be sure, but I do believe that we did require the IEEE
519.
or, well, just the IEEE for the whole project.
IEEE
As,
being
for the standards.
Yeah, we did.
Because there was one above what we normally require.
It was a suggestion of the Lynn County, Iowa
Yes.
County Commissioners. Their director said, if you put this in the regulation, it covers all those types of things, and you don't have to worry about it, because then, again, our inspector will know that, okay, they're following this
IEEE.
Again,
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that, that's what we put in there.
for international building.
Okay.
I'll look for it. Yeah, the 519 is cited in my email as well.
Yeah, and like I said, the 519, from what I'm looking at here, is actually doing with common tie points, and I'm going to bet that Evergy, that's their transmission line, I'm going to bet $1 to a dime that Evergy, before they have the tie agreement, whoever, right, with Evergy, I'm just gonna bet that's in Evergy's rules, that you have to have this, you're not gonna put this many organics on the line. You know, that's just common sense. So.
People always looking for shortcuts.
I know.
Companies, not for people.
Yeah, but no, I appreciate your information here. I did have a question on the 215B. Is that 215.2B or 215.4B? The 215.2 has to do with meters over 600 volts, and the 4B has to do with ampacity test. Which one are you referring to on that?
If I remember, that's in my email.
Yes.
The one that's in the
All your references, NEC code
Right, I couldn't look it up.
92B and 215B.
Right.
And the 215B, like I say, there's two different references to 215B. 215.2, which is meters over 600 volts, which I'm kind of guessing that's what you're referencing?
Maybe.
Okay.
I just was quoting the presentation.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I didn't have a chance to go and watch the presentation yet. I was trying to go over the AI, and that didn't work. So I'll go back and watch that and go through it. So I do appreciate that, though. I do appreciate the information. But I'm pretty sure that it was the IEEE that we put in for what we want regulations.
I'll go ahead and go through the draft and make sure it's in there as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Thank you.
I know it's supposed to be in there because that's one of the things that we brought back from Lynn County, Iowa, is they said that is a must and it's a standard because it takes their level of construction to the highest level. And so
It piqued my attention too when you said the transition from DC to AC. The facilities, the farms itself create the DC. Can they transform that to the power source, say hypothetically it's going to be Jeffrey Energy Center, which is proposed? Do they translate that from DC to AC there?
Yeah, with the inverters.
You have to do it on site.
Okay.
Because.
Okay. On site of the farm.
Of the farm.
Okay.
The sooner the better.
Okay.
Because DC direct current does not you can't go very far.
Okay.
Alternating current gets you miles.
Converters?
Inverters.
Inverters, oh, transformers, okay, I got that too. Yeah, I visited there's one south of Oskaloosa, and you had mentioned the decibels. That's something that was also addressed previously. My car motor was running, and it's probably just as loud as the inverters were. It's not very loud at all, the decibel. I even went up to a property around it and couldn't hear it from, say, half a block away.
Yeah, the hearing is not the problem, it's the radiation that causes, it's been a month or two since I watched that video to know what kind of ill effects it has on the children, but it's very compelling.
And I was looking here also, see if I can find it.
Would that be comparable to the sun radiation or something, or is it?
Well, it's a very specific band of radiation, right around 20 kilohertz.
Okay.
And so the good thing is it's easy to put a filter on there to notch. They call them notch filters. It just notches I don't know how big the range is, 5K either side of 20K, K being 1,000. It just notches. It just reduces that so that it doesn't radiate and it doesn't affect cows. There's all sorts of you can watch milk production go up and down on a daily basis. If you turn the filters on, cows give you 10 gallons apiece, and if you turn the filters off, well, they're not doing any good, and that
what distance
goes to 5.
What distance do they have to be within those?
That's the presentations expert said that that's hard to say, and I expect that depends on the ground, because they're trying to ultimately they're putting the noise in the ground, and if the ground is very conductive, it's going to go a long way. If it's the kind of ground that doesn't conduct electricity very well, then it's going to it'll be local. That's a very hard thing to. My conclusion on that is that you would err on the side and put the filter in
So you don't have to do a study, you don't have to do a study on every site, every.
Be interesting, I met a gentleman from Barber County, Kansas. Are you familiar with Pixley Solar Project? It's under construction out there now. It's gonna be the largest in the state of Kansas at this point. It's over 2,000 square acres. But I'll reach out to him and ask him that question. He was very knowledgeable. He was just a county employee, road and bridge superintendent, but he was very knowledgeable in what they were doing out there.
Yeah. Very good. I'll try to look up that Pixley. I do have a concern. I mean, you're always supposed to obey all the laws all the time, right? So my concern is, so to include IEEE, and I don't have any idea how big their regulation book is. I'm sure it's more than 30 pages. To expect them to follow all of that.
All of that has to do with the project.
Well, yes, absolutely. But how to be double sure that we're not creating health problems for our residents. If we can just put a call out in there, we may need to add, you may have a list of 50, or to call out the ones that we think or you think that are.
So do you know anybody that has solar at their residence?
I do.
And so what do they do?
I don't know. I have not asked them. I have at least 2 people that come to my mind as you asked that question. I know I have 2 people.
Yeah, I know several people south of town here that they're completely off the grid. They have nothing but solar.
Right.
And
I'm also have some friends that I believe they are experiencing health issues. I'm not sure that they're sensitive. And it's a child, and she said she's missed lots of school, and I don't know. I can't say what caused all of her health issues recently.
Sure.
I don't know if the timing is right to point or not. But I'll do some polling of my friends.
Well, it's a good thing to know going forward and everything. I appreciate your efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I appreciate the information, and I'll look at that video and watch it and see what like I said, I did want to find out for sure on that 215, so I didn't know which one you were referring to. So, but I bet that it's the feeder over 600.
Did you find that online, or is that something you have?
Yeah, no, I got it online.
Oh, I tried.
Oh, no, I'll have to go dig my code book out. It's an older one, but I don't think that I don't think the capacity adjustment of the feeder over 600 volts is going to be changed. So I'll dig that out and look at it. And then the grounding practice. What was your concern with the grounding practice?
Well, it's the not if you don't notch the noise out, you put that noise in the ground, and that's what hurts the people.
Sure.
It goes through the ground.
Yeah.
Ground wire into the ground, and then transmits to the earth or wherever you're having to be at.
So is that any different than cross-country power lines that are being grounded into the ground? Reason I ask that because I have some hay ground underneath one, and if you pick the right day and you go to open the gate, you bend down and touch the knee on the ground, the barbed wire will continue moving.
Yep.
I think yes. I think that the noise is showing up based on this guy's presentation. The noise is showing up in the noise on it. And he said every time ever he puts a ground wire off a pole into the ground, and if they're not filtering the noise off of the lines as they're being transmitted, it's going to be in the ground.
Okay. Thank you.
I would for you releasing that, I would recommend, and I don't know if you remember or not, back in the 70s when the movie Homes came out. Watch out. It was a little mini-series. I mean, it's just the same thing we're talking about now.
Right.
And, I mean, and we've lived with high voltage transmission lines for Lord knows how long. This is just something that, in my opinion, is you try to do what you can as far as on the filter side. You try to do what you can as far as on the grounding side, as far as that, and it just, you do what you can do. You can't cut everything out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and as well as I do being a triple or double E, so yeah.
Educated choices.
Yeah, there you go. So, anyway, I appreciate your information, I'll look at it, see what I find. All right, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You are,
Did you have a question, ma'am?
Yes, for
Okay.
you.
Okay, for me?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
You help Jason Potts with NEK?
yes,
Okay, I got the same problem.
okay,
And they sent me a letter that they're gonna charge me $400 more
okay,
because I don't have hinges on my gate on my rental lagoon.
on your rental property, okay,
I built a brand new lagoon, fenced, just like they wanted, but now they say I have to have hinges on the gate.
What kind of gate do you have up?
what do you have? Just a wire gate?
No, it's a gate,
But
but we
then,
just wired it on.
you just wired it?
Yeah, and then, so when you want to go in and mow, you just unwire it, move it,
Yeah,
go in.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, NEK wants me to put hinges on this gate.
Let us make a phone call and see if we can work this out, because there are a lot of, is this an existing lagoon?
I had it built about 2 years ago, and the gentleman that did run NEK, he approved it and everything. But the lady that's taking over now says that it's not approved, and it's past the 2 years, whatever, and she's gonna charge me $400 to send it to court to have hinges put on the gate. It's just a pasture, is what it is.
I get it, yeah, and Jason had a similar
Yeah,
situation.
Jason has similar, that's why I was wanting to talk to
Your
you.
Bruce's mom?
Yes, Debbie Brickle.
Yeah,
I live on 142 Road.
yeah.
Now,
Would you do me a favor, write down the location? I'll give
Okay.
you a pen, you can use the desk there, you can write down the location, your name, and your contact.
Did the
I'll get
gentleman-
twisted, sorry, that's the light at the end of it.
oh, twist it.
Yeah, twisted.
Okay, fancy pen.
Did the gentleman who, and I know the gentleman that you're talking about who approved it 2
Uh-huh.
years ago, did he
Yeah.
give you any paperwork?
No, he said it was approved. Bob Earhart dug it and everything.
Yeah.
And he signed everything, but this lady is just
Typically, they
on
don't.
my case
They don't.
constantly.
I thought they had to have a certificate that said it was, that,
He
He
would,
never sent me one.
okay, okay.
yeah, we, I've
unless you're
had,
dealing with commercial.
yeah, I've had lagoon, or not lagoons, but septic systems
Mm-hmm.
inspected, and I just get a phone call back saying it's good to go.
Okay.
Do you have a letter too with you? That,
No, I didn't bring it,
Okay.
because I didn't,
Okay. Yeah, you usually have. Or it's.
Yeah, if you put your cell number in there, you can call.
Yeah.
Overregulated.
I've tried to work with her, but she was. And this last one that she sent me, she says, I'm pretty sure it's not fixed, but I didn't go through the needs to check. Yeah, she just,
I'll give you a call.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Uh-huh, thank you.
Come on, Kurt. How are you, Dave? Thanks for being flexible and coming in. I'll let you go, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark had some questions.
I was curious on the vehicle passes. Do you think that's too big of an increase right off the bat, the $10 increase, $5 increase?
Considering we haven't raised them in
Years?
I want to say over 10 years now.
How do they
So
compare?
basically, if you go to buy a park pass for a state park, like when you go to do,
And that's what I wanted to know, how you're comparing the park prices.
you're paying a couple $100 to do that,
Okay.
opposed to our $45 for your car and then $10 for your extra cars.
Okay, and that, like I say, that's what the information I wanted to know.
Yeah, so you're.
Because I'm
so-
not buying pass for those, I don't know.
Right, so in the grand scheme of things, if you come and camp with us, at $45 for your, because that knocks your camping from $20 down to $17. Because our $20 a night camping limit, or limit, but price includes
your vehicle that you're pulling the camper with and the camper.
Okay.
So if you buy that $45 pass, that takes away that vehicle fee for your camper.
Okay.
And so then you're down to $17 a night, and it takes right up, 2 weeks, and then from then on, you're money ahead.
Okay.
So
Like, you go down to Perry or you go over to Tuttle Creek, that's.
yeah, if you go buy an annual pass, and I haven't bought one that's, I was talking to Susan, and it's a couple $100 to do it for the year.
For the year, yeah.
For the year to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, then, that answers my question, then if we're still that far below them, then I don't have a
So
problem.
I ran it both ways. There's two options that I could. My one was, doing away with the annual pass code and just making it a flat $20. And then you could still buy an annual pass if you wanted to come in and like walk the trails or go use the, any of our facilities, and then that would pay for, your fee to get in for the whole entire year.
Right.
For that. And then, and I ran that with this new system that I have the ability to do that and run that each way. And this way, brought in relatively the same amount of money as doing that. And instead of just the people that are camping paying that, increase, now everyone's, sharing it equally,
Okay.
On the backs that are using the way.
Sure.
And
there again, like I say, if the explanation you gave right now is perfect, that's what I needed to understand. If we're that much lower than the state parks, then yeah.
So, even our next closest, and it's not, and you're comparing apples to oranges, but like Shawnee Lake, the county run lake, we're at, essentially, we're at $17 a night if you buy a pass.
Uh-huh.
They're at $22 a night.
Okay.
And that's what their rate is.
Right.
So, at some point, it's imminent that we're gonna have to go up in our camping prices. But I've been trying to prolong that as long as we can to keep getting by and keep the.
You can't lose money.
Right, exactly. And our expenses have gone up tremendously, with the amount of fuel and, yeah. Right. So
no,
just a note.
That's perfect, that's what we need to understand.
I think then it'd be a general consensus of this board that we approve both the increase, or the rental rates for the facility. I think it's a good place to start, and then your increase for rental.
And then I would like to, we can send you an email or something, but get a official, maybe ribbon cutting or something that Ally can get a picture of, and I can get. We have a meeting tonight, tomorrow night, with the Friends of Banner Creek.
You get a big pair of scissors off Amazon too.
Yeah, real big. And I think it'd be nice to do an official something like that, and that way we can have the rates then, in the paper so everyone kind of knows that, and then starting first part of January, we'll start taking reservations, official reservations for the upcoming year.
Perfect. Just let us know when you want to do that.
Yeah, probably do it on like a Monday or something when you guys will be here.
Okay.
As far as grant paperwork is officially tied up.
Good.
You're done? Good. Done with that. The only loose end is this thing, HVAC system. Looking into it, I think we're going to have to hire a tax professional to help us with the paperwork on that, because it is not near as easy as they told us it would be. They basically just gave me a pamphlet and said, this is what you have to do. But then I started going into a rabbit hole of reading about it. And I think it's going to take someone that, truly understands the tax code and how we fill this paperwork out correctly.
And we did talk to the auditor, like a per email, and then that was his advice also.
Okay.
That was my question.
Let's get somebody who does that.
Yeah.
Always find somebody who wants to donate that.
You got a neighbor out here that does taxes, so.
No, I actually texted him, not 2 weeks ago.
Really?
I walk across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really our, it has to be inspected, a final inspection to get our last reimbursement, which is, but everything else should be coming, so we can put that back in. touches on the parking lot.
And like Scott was gonna come out this week
Yeah.
and send somebody out.
Yeah, they've been, well, then they got that massive pile of dirt, hauled off for me, out on the west end of the lake that's been there for 4 or 5 years, that now I can work on that, and I'd like to make that into a parking lot for the people that ride horses out there. So they don't park in the lake, and then kind of get lost as they're going over there, and then we've got horses on the walking trail, and no, I think that'd be a good area we can get that clearly labeled, and then it's plenty big enough for people to make a loop through and get some loads of gravel. They're currently working on my, gravel roads out there too. They need quite a bit of work, they were telling me, to get them up to where they need to be, to where we can get ground back on the road. Yeah. Shoot, other than that, we're just trying to finish out the final kind of agreement end on for when you sign to say you'll rent the building.
Yeah.
Right. All that stuff that needs to be in there. That's.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate you coming in, just like I say, that answered my questions. And
Yeah.
I'm
No,
perfectly
I-
satisfied with your explanation.
Thanks, sir.
Yep. See ya. See you, buddy. Yep.
You have time for a couple questions?
Yeah.
The sheets I give you on the funds, you guys had mentioned that maybe you wanted to transfer outlay money into cover landfill and recycle. I didn't know if you were still wanting to do that. I'm trying to get to year end so I can get everything balanced.
You wanna come up and show these guys what you're talking about? So,
And HHW, you're just gonna have to cover because they don't have another fund. So, landfill is in the copies of Banner rate. So this is what I have on this balance right now.
Can you steal Dan? Okay. Well, can you email it to me? Can you just email it to me?
stay over with them. But some of this, so we asked him, remember? It was, there was, some of this will get back from the other counties.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So
Well,
right
so
now-
that'll be,
This is recycle, not landfill. Landfill is recycle.
yeah,
This will get back because we, collect from.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm reiterating what you're saying.
well, I was trying to remember if those household hazardous waste, you said we get this back after. Household hazardous waste rather than recycling.
What is this?
Yeah, because you've got Jonathan and Mark.
Yeah.
That's the other two council.
Okay.
They usually make money, or close to it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, I thought for like the pad and the building and all that good stuff, and we already had all that, it was already, we had enough money in there to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, their budget amount was 89,605 for solid waste. They've spent 108.
But some of that money was supposed to come out for that project and just be transferred out of their capital outlay to cover that project.
Oh, that's the land.
The building,
I got that in cover, yeah. I got that saving bill to you. That's what
okay.
Okay.
I just didn't know if you wanted to use kind of general fund to cover next year, or if you wanted to move it in.
I would move it, I would move it.
Move it into cover.
That's, yeah, that's
Yeah.
his savings, so that's what he needs to do.
Yeah. That's what I would say, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that's what you wanted.
it's just because they were trending
Oh,
early in the year, you know.
Yeah,
I have that in my notes to ask about.
They were trending way above.
Right.
They are about 62,000 more. We just got another prior year bill from one of the attorneys,
Yeah.
that's about $4,000.
Probably a sink,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amy
because
has
those
asked
go-
them to get the old ones in, so they
Okay.
can just get paid up, so she can try to
Yeah.
start budgeting.
Those can go on for years, and we did get one for 10 grand here 2 months ago. Okay.
That's what's really,
Yeah.
really got us.
What about the, county attorney's office? We're okay with,
I think he was setting up.
okay.
not amend the budget because from everything that people told you they would spend by the end of the year, we should still be sitting okay.
Okay.
Road and bridge, I'm just gonna go back to the zero balance at the end of the year now.
And where's Amy planning on getting this money? We're just gonna have to cover it? We're just gonna have to take it someplace?
I don't know that she has anywhere to. I don't know if there's
I'm sorry, I didn't
Amy,
hear.
I don't have anything in the judge's house that can help.
What about, yeah,
what was the?
what's it called? It's a form of restitution that we do receive some. Is that what's calculated?
That's already covered.
That's already calculated. Recovery, how about recovery? Can we move some recovery monies that we would, that goes directly to sheriff then? Is that by law? Recovery is,
That drug money?
yeah,
No, that stays with the
that
sheriff.
stays, is it by law? Has to do that? Okay. Thought so.
But yeah, just transferred out of there.
Okay. That's what I-
Capital outlays.
Yeah, ahead of the game.
They'll just have less for next year's capital outlay.
I have a question on Linda Jackson.
You're gonna ask about vacation and
I
things like.
am, 2 weeks, was she allotted, did she give 2 weeks notice within the,
She did not.
okay, so we're not paying out vacation?
That is whatever our policy is.
Just want to double check. All right, thank you.
Linda did not give notice.
Okay. I can't hear.
To resign, before she resigned.
Okay.
So therefore, if you don't give 2 weeks notice,
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, I'm looking over our, I haven't found anything on there as far as gates in our policy, in our environmental policy. But I
I
did
don't think
find.
you will.
Probably not. That's what I'm double checking. What I did find is issuance of a permit. Now, these have been in place since August 3rd of 2003, okay? And 1-3.7, issuance of permit. After the receipt of a permit application required by this code, which would be for a new lagoon, right? The administrative agency or designee shall begin such investigations and inspections as necessary to determine whether the permit application should be approved or denied, and shall approve or deny the permit application within 30 days. If the permit application is denied, the administrative agency shall send the applicant a written notice of the reasons of rejection. So if they did this 2 years ago and they didn't, there is nothing in their files that says that they denied the permit, then I'm not really interested in pursuing
Do you
Martha's
want
claim.
to call Martha?
Yeah, I'm gonna go through this a little bit more.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, it spells out right there, so if it's out in their files that they denied it,
Right.
then it's approved. So isn't that what you would think?
Correct.
Okay.
And what's odd was, I know of another situation where I know the gate is just wired up.
Yeah.
And so whenever the guy went in there to mow, he would unwire 4 times, set the gate aside, and push his mower in
Yeah.
there. It just got inspected and it passed.
So that's what I'm not happy with that.
And I don't know where she gets, to my knowledge, she has no authority to charge anybody anything. Other than if it's an inspection, but she doesn't have the authority to fine
No,
or to take someone to court.
I don't believe so.
I know she doesn't. Because that other situation was the same situation where it was just being so nitpicky it made no sense. Fire District 2, is that up in your area, Mark? Fire District number 2.
I'm not sure.
Julie,
It's
was
Soldier,
that her part?
it's Soldier, very.
It's Soldier.
It is
So
right.
yes, it is in my area.
Okay. I'll let you look at these 4 members that they just approved at their board level and entertain a motion if you guys want to approve them.
Gary Schreiber.
Yeah.
So these are all new,
I don't believe so, I think they
Reappointed.
reappointed all of them.
okay.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion to accept
Yeah.
the nominations of Dave Reed. Appointment of Dave Reed, Leon Friel, Gary Schreiber, and Mark Strothman to the Jackson County Fire District Number 2.
Second. Moved and seconded, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, all lagoons must be fenced according to the environmental health codes of Jackson County before the final use permit is issued. I don't see anything in there that says anything about the gates. As long as it's secure.
Yeah.
So, I will get a hold of Martha, you have that leak situation.
I'll make you.
Yeah, just, actually, if you want to, I'll have Terry just copy it in the copier. So you just want to write it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that.
Sounded interesting.
I've never heard of it.
Ohms?
Yeah.
Nor I.
Really?
No. I thought you were gonna say the
Sure.
O in there for a minute, and I thought, whoa,
No,
yeah.
no.
That is a scary thing.
I'm sure that it's called ohms. I'm just, because I remember watching as a kid.
OOHMS?
No, OHMS.
OHMS.
1980.
Well, no wonder I'm a 70s guy.
Yeah, well. 1980.
Yeah. Well, they also had a film in the 1930s.
Perfect. Thank
You
you.
want to read your minutes, Sam?
No, I don't have it.
Sorry, they're probably all in that one.
Aha, thank you.
You're
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of these tax.
Yes, yes. Time of year.
Linda, I saw Chad at the, KAC. I didn't ask him, I was meant to, and I forgot to ask him, we got to talk about other stuff. Did he get elected soldier?
He did.
You did?
Why do you say it like that?
He likes that stuff. Yes, he did.
Yeah,
He actually made it in the primary, so.
yeah. Oh, okay, so he had, he made it. He didn't
Somebody
have to-
missed him in the primary, and so he made it through that, so.
Yeah, very good. He'll be good on there. They just built a huge new building, over there off of, 62nd. No, 82nd. It goes,
No, they're talking about building.
no,
A
62nd.
new fire station or something.
Yeah, that's over on Topeka Boulevard, just to the north of that, quick shop over there that's across the car wash.
Right.
Oh, yeah?
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
And he's on Shawnee County's planning board too, so he's like.
He must not have any kids.
He does. As a patient wife.
Yeah, like.
Ready for a motion?
I am.
I'll move we approve the minutes of December 22nd, 2024.
December 2nd.
Yes.
Second.
Second.
Been moved in second. We approve the minutes for December 2nd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I'm not ready for Christmas. I know.
care if I open up the discussion on something while you're signing those?
Yeah, yeah, go
You
ahead.
you keep signing, I just was gonna, so,
I can multitask.
countywide sales tax, talked about, asked Todd to read the statute. Would it be, you guys' thought then we'll go ahead and advise Carrie that we're gonna move ahead to have Francis sponsor a 0.25% sales tax designated solely for the whole hospital? And then let the community, there'll be a special, or there'll be an election this fall, or not election, but a vote on it this fall, to let the community decide if they want to support a sales tax for the hospital. Would that be,
I think that would be a good idea.
okay,
I mean, because I'm not going to, you know, I made my feelings known.
No,
As far as for us, and yeah.
I agree.
I just would let them have it rather than try to fight and do anything with us, so.
and Linda, I know you'll be here in a few weeks, and so this process will play out. Basically, when the legislature opens back up, then Francis will go ahead and have their attorneys move this forward. They'll sponsor it, and then it'll come to election. Do you have thoughts on it? Whether the, no?
So at this point, I'm here just to,
That's fine,
because of papers, I can't really interact for 60 days.
Oh,
okay.
See what I'm saying?
Nope.
So till the 1st of January, I'm just kind of here as a.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. I just thought I'd include you in the conversation.
And I appreciate that, I do, but I'm.
Just to let you know, we learned at the conference, convention last week, that one of the things that KAC and Kansas League of Municipalities is going after hard this year with the legislature is to get them to drop that. Have to go to the legislature to put in
Yeah,
sales tax.
so basically it would just go to a vote of the public in your
Kind of
county.
makes sense.
It saves them time, yeah.
Unless government control over counties.
But at this point, I'll email Carrie and let her know that we're
Yeah.
gonna pursue that.
Do you think though that she, or the hospital entity itself should be?
They can.
They cannot.
They cannot tax the citizens because they're not a government.
Well, that's what I was referring to, was to then go to the representatives in the area. It all has to go through us first,
That's
as a
so-
conduit, and then we approach.
We have to designate it in the paperwork.
Yeah.
Or, so say for instance, we were gonna start up an ambulance
Tell them the
service.
reason for that. So it doesn't go to, so it doesn't get split up and 60% goes to Holden,
I got
some
you.
goes to Hoyt,
Yeah,
some
sure,
goes to.
sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because typically in a
Yeah.
sales tax,
Right.
each of your incorporated cities would get a small portion of that.
And probably your fire districts and your cemetery districts and all that. No, school districts, no.
I don't believe so.
It's
Just the
a
cities.
percentage based on the form, from the way that Aaron was explaining, Aaron Mays, Shawnee County
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner was explaining it, what happens with them is to the city of Topeka, due to their population, gets 60% of the sales tax.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what has to do with and it's a formula that's set up, that the state set up years ago for that. And so I don't know if that 60% is for the biggest city in the county, the taxing entity, and then goes from their population and
It
kind
goes,
of scales down from there.
it goes off of population.
So but I mean, is the 60%, is that set in statute?
No, I don't think so. I think he just knows that's the percentage that they get.
Okay, but that's the percentage that the people gets, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, by all means, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent 11 years on the hospital board, I see what happens. Perceives what is happening.
When you asked about the kneecap cord though, did you ever think about Angie Reed, who used to be the
Oh, that's a good thought.
health department? I don't know what she does now.
Works at
Works
Jackson
the
Heights.
church secretary. She's in charge of the, CCD and all that, the church.
Right,
Yeah.
right, but I don't know if she does anything out there, she has.
I don't believe so.
She's a teacher at Jackson Heights.
Angie is?
Yes.
When did she start that?
This year, last year.
Oh, I didn't know that. But she can still serve on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just.
that's a good thought.
She'd probably be a good person.
It's a good suggestion. Do you know her, Clark?
Angie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
I can reach out to her.
Thank you.
And that's for the kneecap board, right?
Yes, that's correct. It just has to be somebody from the public.
Is that something that could be posted in the paper as a position you'd like to fill, as a, instead of just seeking out people who, I might know somebody?
Yes, to answer your question, yes, we could, but typically, we've done that, and it costs us $35 or $40 to put it in the whole recorder, and we get no response, crickets. I mean, we can't even get people to show up here for a budget meeting that we set up, and we're here for 4 hours to allow folks like yourself to come in and sit down in front of every department head and elected official and talk about budget, when it was still in the stages where we could change things and move things around. And how many people we got to show us? And we advertised a lot of that.
So maybe you could slide it in there. We have a reporter here. We just go ahead and, I don't know if there's a way you could have an official discussion about it and she could.
On what? On the
job posting or whatever there'll be.
Yeah, this isn't a job. This is just an appointment. We'll put it on our website, but I don't feel comfortable spending taxpayer dollars in the whole recorder to get nobody to even respond to it.
Right.
We'll put it on our website. We can put it on the website. Tara, if you don't mind having Aaron do that, on the Facebook and on the website, that would be great. But yeah,
Yeah, maybe just a comment, ask the paper to put a footnote at the end of every article. Jackson County, positions are available, it's not a paying position, I understand that,
They don't do that for free.
They don't do that.
They don't do anything for free. That's one of the reasons, I'll be honest with you, the legislature at KAC is going to ask for legislation this year in 25 that you don't have to designate a newspaper as your official notice publication.
Yeah.
It'll save us thousands of dollars. We can put it on our website, and people will know that's where it's at. It makes no sense because in a lot of towns, you have very few readers.
Right.
I mean, out of 13,500 people in this, or 250 people in this county, maybe 500 get the whole recorder. So is that really the best place to designate as your official public notice? I'd rather put it on KMZA.
More people hear it.
Still? No, my aunt used to work there, she retired. I don't know, a long time, but she was there quite a while, they closed Osage City.
Yeah.
And then she transferred over.
I've been in Livingston for about 12 years.
Oh, okay, and she's probably been retired longer than that. So, you live over here, you drive in every day. How long does it take you to get there? That's what it usually takes me to go over by the big house.
Yeah. Where are you going to the big house?
Believe it or not, I toured that.
That's
And I got out. And the state. And I always tell people, I was in Alcatraz 3 different times. They let me out.
What's that?
I know what I was gonna ask Kate, Old County Home out on Prairie Lake Road. It's got signs in front of the church now.
They have, they're doing church in their house.
They have what?
Doing church in their house.
And that's, I wonder if that was, I mean, I drove past all the signs. I didn't know if it was, zoned for that or what.
She's in the office.
So, they came, hey, the, Old County Home out there on Prairie Lake Road. You know what I'm talking about?
More farm.
It was a pork farm. Okay, big old three-story house out there. Is that zoned for a church? All right, well, I saw signs in the yard the other day when I drove past, they're having church out there, so I didn't know, I thought I better look into that and see, so. I have no idea. I'm relying on you for that. I don't know.
I think so.
Okay.
When does she normally?
Yeah. And like I say, it was a county home, and then it went to private residence, goes back for years, it went to private residence, ever since it still is a private residence with the sign of the church in front of it, so. I just didn't know. All right, so I'm going to rely on you. You can just report back next week. That's fine. You'll get there. Make it secretary, okay? All right, thanks, Kate.
See certain
Bye.
areas that the public is restricted, because I'm still a person of college. And some of those structures will say, hey,
Do what? What's this? All that out there? Since this is a house.
CIA,
Yeah.
flew to Cambodia and said, hey, President Nixon is going to continue Southeast Asia.
I didn't even know that.
And that was, but, he was
I'd like to be there. I should have had
and
Zibell.
college did that, went to Highland College first, then Kansas State. Yeah.
It's 3 foot down, it's 300 feet,
Yeah.
and if it's under full load, that shaft has a full twist. That's how much it's torque.
Steam from,
From the limited reaction
okay.
to the steam to
And
drive the generator.
sure.
To drive the shaft, the generators from the load on the shaft to make the electricity. They're about this wide, about 2 inch.
But they also come out tubes, some kind of radiation,
That's in.
That's it.
They didn't really see that.
I never got to go Wolf Creek, I don't think of the coal fire, mostly precipitators. So here, there,
Simple. Or was it was
Jeffrey, OPPD, I-10, which is right across from the other one. And then Chillicothe, Iowa, which is.
So this, Mark,
Yes, sir.
I'm interested, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I
was just to give you, I'm looking up the health handbook and other thing here, and I want to make sure before we.
I appreciate that. The Barber County where the Pixley Solar Farm is, that guy invited anybody out, who wants to come out and see what the construction, what's being done. He just sent me an email and said it would be fine. That's at, that's where I'm gonna go. Barber County, out by,
Great Bend.
well, no, what's the other town out there? West,
Oh, where the prison's at, Ellsworth. Is that right? Ellsworth? Is that Barber County? You don't know?
Medicine Lodge.
Medicine Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Pratt. That's the lodge in Pratt.
So, Larry Thomas. I think he's their road and bridge superintendent.
Barton County is pretty
Okay.
bad. That's awesome.
And they're right in the middle of, doing it right now.
Who's the general on that, as far as?
The developers in Evergy,
It is Evergy?
Evergy, in Evergy, all one word,
Okay.
not Evergy.
No.
Yes, yes, I did. Appreciate it, thanks. Yep.
Are they a subsidiary of Evergy or total separate?
I have no idea.
I wondered that because I've seen that before. I don't think that they are.
Okay, we've got two other things just to talk about. W5 and 178 Road. There is, 178 is an east-west road, W5.
Have one.
Yeah. The gentleman owns the ground on both sides of the road going back in there, it dead ends. 178 dies back in there, it's minimum maintenance, doesn't cross the bridge. What he wants to do is put a cattle crossing in on top of the ground and bring his fence up to it. So a portable cattle crossing, so he doesn't have to put a gate in. And he can run cattle through the whole thing. Otherwise, he's gonna have to build a fence down both sides of this basically abandoned road, to keep the fence, to keep the cattle. Actually, might visit with you guys, pull it up under maps.
What doesn't he apply to close the road? And he owns both sides of this, didn't he?
That was one of the things I talked to him about, was possibly,
We'd have to post it.
but I don't know that he really was interested in asking for it to be closed.
Because he still wants us to maintain it.
There's really nothing to maintain.
Well, that's what I'm
It's
saying,
over
so
at- yeah.
I'm curious why he would not want it.
He didn't say he didn't want it. He said, well, the easy thing to do would just be to put this, set this portable cattle crossing up and run a fence up to it. Like
So 178 is the one that you're referring to.
178 and W5.
Yeah, and if I'm looking at this, it just kind of, 178 shows it just kind of wanders back into this pasture and
South
dead
Park.
ends over there. Is that what you're looking at right here?
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
I would not want the county to have the liability of it still being open and you put something in the middle of the road. Hypothetically, if someone came up there and ran into it, the county still would be responsible because it's a county road. That's my take. If he asked.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, if he asked to close it,
it's closed and the liability is taken off the county's plate.
Or are you looking, since you get it up yet?
One second. That'd be closer to Edison.
It says Cedar Township.
Cedar.
So we're W4, yeah, it just kind of goes back in there. It said W5.
Is this what you're looking at? Well, I got W5 here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's where it shows W5 and 178 just kind of wandered back into pasture, just.
Yeah.
It goes straight for a little while. Yeah, my map shows W4. Doesn't matter. It's where 178 goes straight to the east, and it gets down there, looks like maybe quarter of a mile, and then curves and goes back north.
Right there. Right.
That's what you're talking about. But that's what we're
Let me make sure we're on the same page here. No, that's a different one I'm looking at. Take the N off there.
I didn't even use that.
Or which maps, are you using Google Maps?
Yeah, I just
Because here's what I'm looking at right here.
He's east of 16, you're west of 16, right?
I'm just a 16.
16 highway.
No, this is clear down by, well, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
west.
Okay, so here's where I'm looking at, that shows. W5 and 178.
You're in my spot, I'm not.
Is he referring to?
Because it's,
He owns all, no, he owns all of that.
yeah, so I mean, I don't see, I would.
I think we should check, I don't think that 178 coming down through there is.
That's correct.
Right,
So
yeah, that's
fairly
right.
straight. That's, no, that's.
What he's talking about is putting it in right here.
Does he almost?
Because 178 goes straight through, not down the neighborhood. Google's showing it coming down there on that cattle path. And he owns the property on both sides of that,
Oh, right there.
right there.
Yeah. Well, I'd want to do some checking to make sure that this is not 178 that's
That's
there.
weird, look at 178.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Let's see.
Yeah, this is showing 178 straight across, this map shares the section 10. And that's Cedar East. And that just shows it as straight across, so.
And I think that's what he's wanting to do. I said, at some point, we could drive out there and take a look
Which
at
would
it.
be up right along that tree road, but if that is still a road, good lord.
It's completely overgrown.
You know, 178 is, because it doesn't show 178 on here, it goes 174 to 182, I wonder if it's something that's, hasn't been maintained, but that makes sense. Oh, wait a minute, here's 178. It's just a itty bitty little.
Yeah, because if it is, and I'm like Dan, I'd be a little bit afraid of liability. If it's still a road,
Sure.
there goes a cattle panel up across there, or cattle crossing up across there.
So maybe the question is, why not, abandon the road, but.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't even see a road there.
Kara's got the answer.
It just says minimum maintenance on here. Sorry. Right here, this little piece.
I would be more inclined just to say, let's just close it, we're done with it.
Yeah, public notice and so. See it? Yeah, oh, I see. That's it? That's all it is? Yeah. Any bit? Oh, okay, so, oh, that's interesting, yeah. Sure. Yeah. That would be
I
it.
wonder why it's labeled as 5, because it shouldn't, the half mile would be a 4, not a 5.
It only shows you 4 on
Yeah, I don't know.
U4, X4,
It's eighths of a mile, isn't it?
huh?
It'd be 5/8 of a mile instead of 4/8 of a mile.
Right, but it shouldn't be, these are on mile sections, so it should be or in the half mile, so anytime it's a half mile, it's
What's
like
that?
U4,
What's that road?
yeah, or a 4.
Hey, Mark, what was that road on your map? It shows like, it's like,
I'll just reach out to him and tell him we'll come up and take a look at it.
Yeah.
And see about, or he can come in and
see,
petition to have it abandoned.
It was like, not just
Shut
straight
the
across.
dams up through here, is what Google Maps says.
Yeah,
I don't think that's probably
yeah,
right.
either. Looks like a river.
Okay, I got a more of an
Thanks.
answer on our
Okay?
gate question. This is, and here again, I'm going back to this, and when they're talking about fences, a structure that surrounds an on-site wastewater lagoon or lagoons that meets environmental health handbook specifications, okay? So you go to the environmental health handbook specifications, and under, find it here real quick. Under guidelines for design and constructing lagoons, section 6, fencing for human and animal safety. Basically, it's blah, 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 and state and county codes require all wastewater lagoons to be fenced. Fencing should preferably be located 3 feet outside the berm toe. A 4-foot wide, rigid frame, hinged gate can allow
Not sure.
easy access to mowing shop. Gating must provide the same degree of resistance to entry as fencing. They say it requires a padlock. Wow. Put hang a padlock in the middle of the damn fence and say, there you go, that's a padlock. I mean, I don't get that. But my point is, it does not say it has to be hinged. Because a 4-foot wide rigid frame gate can allow.
Right.
So,
if you want to reach out to her, I'll reach out to
yeah, I will.
Mrs. Drickle and let her know.
Shall's the key word. It does not say shall, which is mandatory
Yes.
by law. It says can, which.
So it does not have to be hinged as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
She's following, and I'm still saying though, that it all goes back to that part in there that says they will send them a letter denying it. If they don't have a letter in their file up there denying it, then it was accepted.
Right. Would you call Christie and see if Christie and Aaron can come down? And that'll be the last topic. What, if anything, are we gonna do about, internal IT work and moving forward? I'd like to have a conversation with Christie and Aaron. Aaron may wanna take on that responsibility for a stipend.
Yep. If Christie can spare her out of the office, it's key there too.
Yeah, that's why I wanna have a conversation. Otherwise, we have a conversation, do we need to look for anybody? Or do we
I
just?
think we probably do, because it specifically says in our contract, with IP Pathways, there will be a contact person in Jackson County.
And that contact
Can be Aaron.
it could be if they want it to. That's why.
I don't know if, I guess I still think we need to talk to IP Pathways too, because when it was explained to us when we went to them, that there could be somebody here in, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, for the problems that, if we have problems. Well, we've had problems since we switched over now out of Road and Bridge, since we switched over.
But Scott was gonna reach out to him. He didn't I don't believe he understood he was supposed to install IP pathways and have them remote in.
Okay.
But we'll talk to ladies.
No.
Okay, IT, front and center.
I'm gonna sit over here. We have to swap out, because Mary's at lunch. I'll stay here.
Thank you. So, all right, let's walk through what you guys think and what we think. Do we need internal IT assistance, or are we just gonna move ahead without Tim? And obviously, we're gonna move ahead without Tim, but what are your guys' thoughts moving forward?
I think we just go with IP pathways, they're supposed to be able to do it.
Okay, so give that a try. If we run into problems and we see that we need something additional, I know you said you have some experience in this. Do you feel comfortable in any part of this, or would you rather not?
I don't mind helping as long as I'm not making modifications to it. Does that make sense?
Say that again.
I don't mind helping as long as I'm not making modifications to
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Which would be what I go out with.
Yes.
Okay.
But I do help a lot to the other departments frequently.
Right, so as long as we're making contact with IP pathways, and when it comes to loading outside software on, we're making sure that there's nothing goofy with it, why we can't, why we shouldn't, or if we're allowing an agency over here to have access to load something on your AS400, we make sure that it's going through IP pathways so that they can check it out first and make
Well,
sure.
my understanding is everything goes through IP pathways.
Okay,
So.
all right. I think that's a great idea. Let's try with,
Question.
yes.
Did you ever find out if they come on site to install computers?
That's one of the things that I don't know.
Because that would be one of my questions. We could hire someone to come in and install the computers.
So there's a couple things that I see internally that, I'm not saying if somebody in here wanted to handle that, they could, but one of the things is keeping track of all the docking stations and laptops and the rotation on a so many year rotation.
Each department has should be tracked.
That's where the department head should be handling
They
that.
should be, but they hadn't. So we need to make sure that that's happening, because we had some stuff that was way outdated. And so as long as everybody who's a department head knows that it's their responsibility to pay attention to that list, do that, we'll be fine there.
How about I make a spreadsheet that we can share and we all go in and put in our computers? The
Yeah.
dates we've gotten them.
I think that's a
and
good
then everyone
idea.
will have that spreadsheet they can work with.
In a way that it'll bring up an alert when it's, 2027 and 3 of them in the clerk's office need to be replaced, then we can take a look at that. And it helps with budgeting, huge help with budgeting. So we know what those are gonna cost and how to save for it. As far as installing stuff, I'm not sure, we just have to do some research locally who we would use. I know there's been a suggestion, I'm not in favor of that suggestion, who is a local individual. And I don't have anything against them, I was just told that there were some issues years and years ago at another department with this individual, and so therefore, he should probably ever be let into the system again. So if we have suggestions, I'm open to that. I think Mark and Dan would be.
Yeah, I've got their contract pulled up right now. I'm trying to see what you said about
See,
using it.
I thought my understanding was, for example, Lisa's computers, I thought they were to come to site.
That's what I had understood too.
And
That is what it was explained to us, that's what I understood.
I think it's just reaching out to the contact person that we have. Let's just reach out to them and say, look, we need to understand, do you have somebody that will come on site, do physical work, or is that something different?
And are we gonna be charged?
And how much?
That's their local office, Kansas City, is that the closest? Kansas City, Omaha.
Kansas City, Omaha.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, Roger.
Hi. How are you? Good. So, let's get that question answered, about on-site.
You want to call them and
spreadsheet, thank you, Sheriff.
Well, I
Anything
know
else
they
that
have
you're
to come
seeing
here.
that we need to take action on?
No, it would be extremely helpful to get that password, because like right now, we need to get some stuff added to Tara's computer.
Right.
And we have to coordinate it with 3 vendors to be, like, it's gonna be,
I struggle with that whole password thing a little bit.
I still don't understand why we can't have a soft layer password.
Yes, I
Yes.
agree.
So let's ask that question.
because we had one before.
Yeah. No,
And so
I,
when other departments needed stuff, we would just go call them. You know?
but
Okay, I think
you
I-
understand why.
I most definitely do.
Yeah, and so we just have to be really careful about how many people or who has this and how that's gonna work.
Well, that's why I thought that when we had discussed this originally, switching over to them, and we all agreed that Christie was going to be the contact person in the county. That's what I thought that it was gonna be. And then all of a sudden it turned into, no, we can't do that after we signed the contract there.
Let's
So I
make
need to
sure.
find out about
Let's
that.
just
yeah.
make sure.
Okay, I've got, for, just so you all know, for what we were talking about before, local, it's gonna be long distance. Long distance break fix service calls performed at a location outside of 60-mile radius from Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Overland Park, Columbus, shall be subject to a travel charge of $300 per day per engineer, and then the rate on that for a standard day is anywhere from $239 to $266 per day.
And that's
per
why
hour.
I think when we negotiated this,
We had
we had Tim.
Yes.
And Tim never helped set up the computers before. Networks Plus always set everything up. He never did.
Yeah, we had to, and I'm trying to see where that is. It's like 3 different
But Networks Plus charged us for that
dependents
also.
on this.
Yes. And so did Tim.
Yeah, no, I know it is. So we could still have, I mean, if we've gotta have something set up, they just come in and set it up.
Yeah.
Ideally, you
honestly-
would have multiples ready to go on the same day.
As far as setting up a computer, we are capable of putting the computer together, we just would have to have them do the software and stuff.
Right, which can be remoted in. If you can get it up to where it's hooked to the internet, then they don't have to come on site. They can remote in and go through everything, get the email set up. I'd love to have them. Every time I go to print something off my email, it goes to the treasurer's office. Linda, you're not there to get my emails. But
Well, and that's what I was gonna bring up, because
It
right
still-
now, I'm on
sets as a
the
default.
administration wireless.
So-
I can't get to my printer here. I should be on the, commission room wireless.
But you won't let you.
No.
So,
So that's gonna be a giant thing, not an IP pathways. The connection activity is gonna be our internet provider.
Well, I don't know when it's switched though.
It's when they did an update. I lost my computer last Wednesday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon went down, because they scheduled an update on my computer at 3 o'clock in the
Okay.
afternoon.
And they have been asked not to do that again.
So, I don't have the password to get onto the,
if you just go in and click on the commissioners, Christie can give you, it doesn't even give you that option?
It probably wasn't saved internally yet.
it's locked. I have to have a password to be able to get onto the commission.
Gotcha. Right, but Christie has that password.
Do you have the network security key for that? Because I've never seen it.
Okay.
I couldn't get out unless we could all.
Okay, so moving forward then, we don't need anybody locally to replace Tim, and we'll move ahead. If we get down the road and we go, you know what, maybe we do, we can revisit then. Everybody agree?
So just try it.
Perfect. I love it when things are good. Okay. And Christie's gonna get a hold of IP pathways and get some information about maybe a soft, or multi-level password where we can do certain things here, but, and you can just let us know next time what you have to come up
And
with.
the vendors that are putting something on our computers, they're already on other, like, it's from registered deeds, it's from the appraiser's office, it's from, you know what I mean?
I do,
Like,
yeah.
we just need them on ours too. But I know we're gonna have state of Kansas to get her election stuff up and going.
Yeah, like I say, I don't understand the hesitation for, there are certain levels of security that you can have to let you into certain parts of the system. Not giving you total carte blanche to the
I just
whole
wondered,
thing.
maybe they didn't understand what we were asking for.
Or it just didn't get
Right.
through the loop.
That's,
Because, I mean, I had passwords down to get here that I can get into a certain portion, but I couldn't get into this portion, didn't want that portion, you know? So that, to me, that's the way it should be, and that's very simple things, to my opinion. If you have an IT person who is working on it.
See, Networks Plus made us like an admin.
Sure, yeah.
And they locked us out from, you know, the security.
Yeah, all you do is go down and click, 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 you have this password, and you have access to boom, 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 and that's it.
The only thing we want access to is for other vendors that we have had for years that we trust beyond anything.
yeah, you might just ask them that, if they can set it up that way, that might be good.
Yeah.
They may say, sure we can, we just weren't given direction to do so. All right, we'll come back and visit next Monday and talk about it. Roger, did you have anything we can help you with?
Yeah, I want to resign my foundation board, Kansas Mental Health. I've been on that foundation board up there for years, and you know, I'm 85 years old. I need to get off of that thing. And so,
Okay. Did you let them know?
yeah, I was up there the other night at the.
So they'll let us know.
You'll have to appoint somebody, you know,
Right.
to fill that. Actually, that foundation board only meets 4 or 5 times a year, depending on what's going on, but I think the statutes require to have 4 meetings a year. And that's not the main board, it's just the foundation that tries to help with the money.
So there's another one that you can put, Aaron, on our Facebook and on the website, open position to be filled by the general public. There was another one for, NECAP.
And you can lay me on to the end of the year if you want to start. It really don't matter because we're not gonna have any more meetings, so.
Yeah, and I don't know that we'll have anybody beating down the door to want to be on there. But I do want to say thank you for serving on that board.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Roger, really appreciate it.
I've been on that for a little while just because people put me in the courthouse here, and I felt like I owed them something for, doing that, so that's the reason I stayed on that board up there.
It's
I feel like I've served my time.
It's difficult to get younger folks to volunteer for a lot of these boards, water boards, you name it, school boards.
I was going to get in here earlier, and because that would have been a good job for, now you guys could be on that too. I mean, Dan would have had good ones, maybe you could have done a little advertising up north too, but he still could, only he might lose a little bit of his sting.
I pledged to get off the boards when I had to file for something here recently. They asked how many boards and committees and memberships are you on? I didn't know. I had to go back and count because NECAP, AAA have personnel, compliance, governance, total 16.
Yeah.
As of this year. I can't do it anymore.
No.
I promised my wife I would.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to serve, I agree. And what you said, people put you in place here as a commissioner, I felt that I had to get back to, and I like what you said there.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I've been on the NECAP board too up there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's time for me to move down the road.
Well, maybe we'll go fishing together then.
And I'm going to get out of my church deals too, because my wife keeps telling me,
yeah.
she thinks I'm getting old, I don't know.
Thanks,
Before we go.
Yes.
Anyway, that's what I want.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Roger, really appreciate you serving.
What else?
Before we go, I want to bring up, since we decided we're not going to do anything for Christmas bonuses or anything this year.
Correct.
I think it would be a good gesture on our part, it's not going to cost us anything, to allow them to take off New Year's Eve, the 31st? Just like we do for Christmas?
I struggle with that because we already give way more days off than, we give a lot of days off.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, as a non-precedent setting basis, I think that it would be a good gesture on our part to give New Year's Eve off in place of a monetary or a gift card for Christmas, since we're not doing that this year.
Go ahead, Dave.
I agree. I think it's a nice gesture. Worst case scenario, take, personal day, one of their,
I wouldn't even do that, 'cause like I said,
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
we're
I'm
not
okay.
doing anything for
yeah.
a Christmas gift this year.
Yeah, and of course, we have to follow what the courts are doing in some capacity by keeping, if it interferes with, say, the courts right now have a big case on New Year's Eve, then we really can't interfere. So
Sure.
we have to check.
Have you looked at that to see whether, I mean, the courthouse is gonna have to be open because
Yeah.
courts are gonna be in.
Of course, then again, I don't know if they,
Is that correct, Christie?
I can find out if they have.
yeah.
Okay. And then let's revisit that next Monday.
Yeah, I really do. When we had that conversation in here with all the department heads, everybody said, hey, I appreciate the pay increase we're getting, and that's good enough, and.
Sure. Like I say, I just think as a goodwill gesture on our part, I think that would be it'd be a nice thing to do for the employees. So, like I say, let's revisit.
I'll chew
it
on
next
it.
week.
That's the best I can give you, is I'll chew on it.
Yeah.
If it snows, road and bridge is gonna be working, sheriff's are gonna be working,
Sure.
and, it would affect the senior citizens.
And what do we give now, 17 days? It's a
I
bunch.
honestly don't know.
Judge,
Well,
how
like
are
I
you?
say, on a non-precedent setting basis. So,
All right, I'll think
Okay.
about it.
that sounds good.
We'll revisit on
Yeah, let's
Monday.
revisit on, you put that about 14.
Kate called back and said that the church is an A1 allowable use.
Okay, perfect. That'll work. That's all we need. The church out there at the old folks home. Or the former county home.
There's a church out there? Oh, it's used as a church. Is that what you're saying?
It's a residence that's being used as a church now.
I did
just
not
want to
know
make
that.
sure everything's
Yeah,
fit with set.
I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Christie? I didn't think we got everything signed, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Christie, if you would put on